Hey, good morning, Cash Physical Therapy Headquarters podcast. Today we got something super important because we never even considered it as we were growing and scaling our own practices and our clients' practices. But once you reach a certain level in your business where you're doing multiple six figures a month, you start to see new problems pop up that you never even considered would ever actually be problems. So we're talking about the number one thing that is killing practice's ability to scale quickly and predictably, and the tool that Ben started using inside of his practice, ProKinetics, to overcome that and be able to consistently grow month over month over month. Good morning, Ben. What's happening, man?
Morning. I'm excited for this one. I think it's going to be applicable to those that are scaling, and then those that are just starting out too. So I'm excited for it.
100%. And everyone who's listening, you might notice that I don't have my normal microphone or my normal background behind me. We are on the final leg of our trip in San Diego, where we got to spend some time with Ben. We got to bail on Wisconsin winter, but I also got to be a little bit quieter because I know Jenna's still sleeping in the other room. So got to be a little bit quieter. So forgive me if I'm a little quiet here today. But Ben, let's talk about it. You're doing over $200,000 a month. You did 232,000 in March, I believe. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay. And now you're getting to the point where it's like, okay, how do we scale this beyond this? How do you get even more of your time? What's the number one thing that you learned here that is preventing you from growing faster?
Yeah, it comes down to now at scale, it's making sure that each patient is having the same premium experience and having and also going through the same sales process. Sales are just an experience. And so it's very intricate, and there's a lot of things that need to be covered during an initial evaluation from a sales perspective. There's a lot of things that need to happen from a charisma, from a connection standpoint, and wording. And now that we have over 10 plus physical therapists across all of our locations, it's more variable. Patients were having a different experience because we used to just train PTs. So you need to say this, and they kind of more or less had to memorize it and just practice it and get good at it. And in reality, like, people are humans. Like, they're going to forget things. They're going to maybe not get sleep the night before. They're not going to be sharp. And then eval comes in and they're not going to get the same experience. And so I was thinking, like, how can we dial this in more so we're not having to rely so much on, humans being not humans and being robots. It's just not realistic. And so we created a ProKinetics eval template, and it includes checkboxes on our EMR. There's over 25 different checkpoints and things that need to happen during the evaluation. Like, it's naive for us to think that, hey, somebody else is gonna be able to memorize it. Like, heck, I can't even, like, there are sometimes when I was doing evals, I get down like, oh crap, I forgot to do this. And it's just when you're trying to, assess the human body on top of trying to memorize all these 25 different points that need to happen from an eval perspective, it's just not realistic, right? So we created this ProKinetics eval template for documentation that has all these 25 different checkpoints that they need to hit. And then the PT, this is super helpful for onboarding. We tell them, don't lie about what you're checking, you're not checking. You're not going to get in trouble. We also use as a self-assessment tool. So they get done with the eval, they can see what was checked and what was not checked. They can reflect over a week's time, month's time, and look at all the past evals and be like, okay, I'm consistently checking X part. Clearly, I don't need to work on that, but I'm consistent about only hitting this other one 50%. Let's do. Then they bring that to the clinic director, or can bring it to me, and we do role playing on that piece of it. And then clinic director and or myself will also analyze that eval template checklist, and so then we're more effective to help them versus us just kind of guessing on, like, hey, why are you not converting?
Right. No, it's so smart because we've used like spreadsheets in the past where you have each and every stage of the evaluation process broken down. And the SOP was that they come in after the evaluation and basically check all the boxes that they actually did something. So I'm curious, for you, is this something, so in real time during the evaluation, they're checking these boxes?
Yes. Yep. So there's balance to it too. You don't want them, like, reading off of a script, or it's not a script, it's just bullet points like, hey,
Right.
make sure that you ask them this, like, what's the number one thing you want to accomplish today?
Mm,
Why, how is this impacting you? Like really getting into a deeper why. So long story short, you don't want them like having a laptop right in front of them. But what I always did during evals, when I used to like use the other scorecard, like the Excel spreadsheet, is I
yeah.
would just move the laptop off to the side, because that's the thing too. For those that have read the charisma myth, if you put an object in between you and the patient, it creates this barrier. And so you want to try and have as much direct contact and attention to them. So what I would do is I just slide my laptop off to the side, and
Mm,
then when they would say something, I would go and just pretend I was typing something, and then I'd look at the next part of what I need to ask and stay
mm,
during the pitch, during when I'm doing my subjective. I'm
yep.
really trying to get to a deeper why. So it is a balance. You don't want somebody just doing point of service documentation where, like during the subjective, they're just on their laptop the entire time.
Right.
And it's more for a checks and balance. Like they also shouldn't be completely reliant on that. They should be somewhat memorizing it too. To
Right.
like, hey, if your laptop's dead, you should still be able to hit 75% of these without it. It's more
Yep.
of a safety net, not to be super reliant on it.
Right. Because like once you have it down, it's like you don't need to rely on it as heavily. And but it's the problem is when people get either like too comfortable, then they start to move away from it. They get a little cocky, and then they keep making iterations after iteration, and then suddenly you're way further away from the original process that was working.
Yep.
Especially if you're a solo, so you don't have to be doing $200,000 a month like Ben and some of our clients in order to start applying this, because your biggest issue is that right now your sales are inconsistent because everything you're doing is based off of your mood and your energy that day. It's when your caffeine crashes in the afternoon. Like your conversion rates depend so much on reactivity, where you need to create a disciplined process to eliminate the variables that contribute to your close rate. And so creating a checklist like this, no matter what stage you're at, is going to be critical in helping you grow as consistently as possible, while also giving yourself the data to identify what are the points in this evaluation process and this treatment recommendation that I'm either consistently forgetting or I consistently suck at. And that's going to give you the pinpoint precision of deciding what is the next thing that you need to work on that's going to help drive more cash flow into this business, that's going to allow you to help more people. And so no matter what stage you're at, you need to have this type of checklist to help keep you on track and keep you humble in doing the right stuff.
Yeah, and it's not like there's the two biggest bottlenecks in cash practices by far and large is the phone call conversions and in-person evaluation conversions. If you dial those in, business gets super, super easy. And
Right.
that's where people are like, I just need more leads, more leads. No, you need to take better care of the ones that you already have. And it starts with having a systematized evaluation process.
I'm curious with now that you've been doing this for a while, where it's instead of retrospective collecting data on what they feel like they remember, they're actually doing it in real time during the process. Have you found like there's a consistent part of the evaluation that they are getting wrong or forgetting most often?
It's usually like piercing questions. Like they're like,
Yeah,
it's
that's
like
such a
it's
good
like,
one.
"Yeah, how's this impacting you?" "Well, I don't like having pain." "All right, well, how's it, because of this pain, what are you unable to do because of it?" "Oh, well, I'm not working out as much." Okay, okay, well, what's the normal week usually look like for you with regards to, exercise and working out? Oh, and then they kind of light up. They're like,
Right.
"Well, right now I'm barely working out, but if I was, I would be doing X, Y, and Z with my friends on the weekend. I'd have a run. I used to have a run club that I go to every Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Missing my friends in the gym. I used to see them, 3 times a week. I don't see them
Mm,
anymore, right?" And now you start getting into like, okay, now it's also impacting their social life. But it's just like you're not asking actual questions like, oh, knee pain. I'm a physical therapist. I saw pain.
mm,
Great. That's all I was looking for. You move on.
right.
That's where people are missing out, and it's so insane to see it that people just really struggle with getting to a deeper level.
Right. And it's because everyone just assumes they know what they're talking about when it's like, you don't, unless, and the prospect definitely doesn't think that you actually know, because until they actually verbalize it, they're not going to think that you do. So there's a really easy framework that I follow that has served me very, very well after doing millions of dollars in sales personally as the salesperson before I built the sales team. There's this 3-step piercing question formula that helps you get to the root of why someone is asking a question so that you can overcome objections before they become objections. Because if you don't pierce on things your prospects are saying, they're going to come up at the time when you actually make and go for a sale, which is the worst thing you want to get. Worst thing that could happen. You want to prevent those objections by piercing questions earlier in the process so you can overcome objections before they become objections when you actually make your pitch. It's clarify, discuss, and diffuse. When people say anything that could turn into an objection, like, oh yeah, I've tried X, Y, and Z, but it didn't work. Okay, ask them questions. Okay, you want to clarify, like, what do you mean by that by it didn't work? Okay, what exactly did you try? Were other people in chiropractic like that you saw getting good results? Well, why do you think they got good results and not you? And then it's like, well, they didn't have any sort of like accountability or any real structure. I just went in and got cracked once a week. Then you can discuss it again and go deeper on it. It's like, okay, so what you really want is accountability. And now you can position your services to have that accountability and have that structure. And so, but if you don't pierce on it, like Ben just said, well, then it's going to turn into the objection that loses you the sale. So that's my 3-step: clarify, discuss, and diffuse.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, right. It's a good one. Yeah. Excellent, everybody. Well, we have a lot of different sales trainings that are available, but this checklist, I think, is the best thing that you could be using because you don't need another script. You need a process that you can follow and lean on that becomes habit. Because it doesn't matter like the words that you say. What matters is the framework that you're following and how you actually deliver that framework, your tonality. Because if you're using a script, you sound like a robot, no one's going to trust you. And so this process that Ben has created, if you want to see what our checklist looks like, just put checklist below. We'd be more than happy to send it out to you so you can start getting more consistent in your sales process and start identifying where you're weak so you can come back to us, ask us questions on your sales process, and we can help you refine that.
100%. Yeah, it took me way too long to implement this, to learn from my mistake and implement it. And it's crazy. I don't see anybody else talking about it or teaching it. So it's hoping that this will spread like wildfire. Because I wish I would have taken it sooner.
Right, that's the benefit of us getting back in the weeds every now and then. We find these epic problems and we get to solve them for other people.
Yep, 100%.
Love it. Excellent, everybody. Thank you so much for listening to the Cash Physical Therapy Headquarters podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel and to the podcast. If you've got value